Welcome back to Trader Talk. I'm your host, Dan Worth, and today I'm joined again with Will Gunn from the Sporting Index Cricket Desk. How are you doing today, mate?
Yeah, very good. Thanks yourself.
Yeah, very well, thank you. Obviously, since we last spoke, there's been quite a lot going on in the England camp with ODI matches and the Test series with New Zealand. Let's start off with the ODIs against Netherlands. England are obviously 2-0 up. What do you make to those two?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously not been the hardest test that England have had recently. But it was great to see them bat first in that first game and really show us what that powerful batting lineup can do. Very, very close to getting to the 500 mark. Didn't quite get over the line, but there's no reason why that couldn't happen in the future.
Yeah, I mean, that was going to be my first question, actually, is after the impressive sort of run scoring in the first ODI, can England get over that 500 mark in the third one?
Yeah, well, I mean, if we bat first and with the likes of Buttler and Livingston and even Moeen Ali and people coming in and hitting lower down the order, the type of team that England have built now is geared up to score for 400, 450, 500, maybe even more against teams like Netherlands, who knows? But yeah, it's certainly possible. And in the last ODI, there was a brief moment, I think, where 500 did go odds on, and it was unfortunate we didn't quite get over the line there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was sat watching, just praying for them, and Livingston at the end with 2 balls to go. It seemed written in the stars, but it wasn't quite to be. You mentioned the powerful batting lineup, though. And again, in the first one, I think we had 26 sixes from the England lineup. They're in on the spread betting 13-14. Can you explain why that isn't quite as high as the 26 they scored?
Yeah, so there's a huge amount of the toss that is factored into this price. If England bat first, like they did in the first ODI, they could score any number of sixes. I got, like I say, got up to 26. But if they are batting second and possibly the Netherlands don't post a huge score, maybe only 200 or something, then they can't hit anywhere near as many sixes. So it's kind of not quite in the middle because there's a bit more upside towards the huge amount they can hit in the first innings. But that's the reason why you're seeing 13, 14 rather than something in the 20s.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. Thanks for explaining that. So we've talked about all of the sixes and the big hitters. Let's move over onto the captain, Morgan, then, who's posted 2 ducks in the first 2 ODIs. Pretty disappointing from him. There's been a lot of talk about his captaincy and whether he's the right man to lead us into the World Cup. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think it's no secret that he's been struggling for potentially an 18-month period now. But the credit that he's got in the bank and the work that he's done since 2015 and getting us to win the World Cup on home soil and all of that stuff, I would like to hope that he can come out of this and it's just a bad patch of form. And hopefully he can bat himself back into form. I think that the only thing with this series, obviously it's disappointing to get 2 ducks, but the situations they've come in have been in situations where we've scored so many runs already that it hasn't actually mattered. And hopefully when it does matter, he will step up, which he has done in the past multiple times. So hopefully, yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. And I guess the other question I wanted to ask then, if Morgan is to step down, especially ahead of the World Cup, who would sort of be your replacement, your number one choice?
So I think there's only one man for the job, really, and that would be Jos Buttler. He's been kind of trained for a while, and I think he's the one who's looking to take over from Morgan when he eventually does step down. Currently the best white ball batter in the world. He's got a great thinking cricket brain. I think there'd be no one better for the job than him.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, mate. And he's been absolutely devastating, particularly in that first ODI and in the IPL, etc. So sticking on the Buttler topic, obviously I think it was 162 not out in the first ODI. He's just been ripping them to shreds. You kind of alluded to him being the best in the world there, but are there any more superlatives for Jos Buttler at the moment?
I think the word which gets thrown around quite a lot, and the only word I can use, is he's just a freak. Never seen anything like it. It's just incredible. He can come in and hit from ball 1, which not a lot of players around the world can do. And I mean, I know it was only against the Netherlands, but the hitting that was on show that day was just freakish.
Yeah. Absolutely outrageous. So going to the spreads market again, his player performance is in for 63 to 68. You might be able to explain this a little better than I can.
So it's 1 point for a run, 20 points for a wicket, 10 points for a catch, and 25 points for a stumping. So again, that's another market with someone like Buttler that is massively dependent on the toss. We saw in the second ODI that he wasn't even required. He slid so far down the order that he wasn't needed. So on that day, it would have been a great idea to sell his player performance. But the flip side of that is that if England bat first and Buttler bats 4 again, then he could score any number. So that's kind of the things that you're looking at with a market like that.
Perfect. Thanks. So moving over to the test side then, we spoke previously about Stokes and McCullum when we weren't sure how they'd get on. But since then, it's just been a very positive start. 2 nice wins against New Zealand, one with a very impressive run chase. What are your thoughts on all of that?
Yeah, so I know last time we spoke, I said I wasn't quite sure about the McCullum-Stokes partnership and his appointment, but having seen what they did in the second test there, I was completely wrong. Not many teams would have even gone for it in a situation like that, but the positive attitude that McCullum's brought so far, and also with Stokes, it's not just good from a cricketing point of view, but it kind of lifts the fans as well, and you now just think that anything's possible with this team. Yeah,
definitely, and from my point of view, that's the key thing that I've noticed from the Stokes and McCullum era. I know it's only 2 tests old, but the resilience that the England batsmen showed whilst chasing that down, I mean, I've not seen that in a long time.
Yeah. So, like I said, there's not many times where you concede 500 in the first innings and still be able to go out and win the test match from there. Batting well in the first innings and then having the audacity to go and come out swinging from ball 1 and go and do it. It was a good change, and hopefully it changes the way that people think about those kinds of chases in Test cricket.
Definitely. And do you think that mindset's changed a little bit with the recent success of England's ODI teams and even T20 teams, that they can come out and just, as you say, go big from ball 1?
Yeah, I think that it definitely does transfer over, and we've got quite a few players that are part of the white ball team. But it was even people like Alex Lees coming out, and I think he was 12 off 3 balls or something, or he certainly scored 12 in the first over, which is something that we haven't seen from England openers for a long, long time. And it was all with proper shots as well. So I think more than anything, it's just a mentality change and having no fear, which is something which Brendan McCullum said he wanted players to not have. So hopefully, yeah, it will carry on that way.
Yeah, definitely. I'm completely with you. Long may that continue. So we spoke a lot about Buttler being a bit of a freak. I guess on the test side, we need to speak about Johnny Bairstow after that ridiculous innings. How can you best describe him?
Yeah, so he's been in and out of the team, the test team, certainly. He's been a fantastic white ball player for a very long time. He's been in and out of the test team, kind of scratching around with his technique, trying different things. But again, it seems like now he's gone back to basics. And a chase like that is perfect for Johnny Bairstow. That's really where he comes into his own. If we're either trying to set a target and we need to score quickly, or we're trying to chase down a target and need to score quickly, that's where he thrives on. I think Stokes said after the innings that when he was batting with him, he called them Bairstow eyes. And it's when his eyes kind of light up, and then you know that he's really in gear and he's going to start. And some of the sixes he was hitting was just ridiculous.
Yeah, mate, it was just really great to watch. So that's pretty much it now. Obviously, we've talking about how positive it is for England, and I'm sure both of us are on the same page that we'd love for that to continue. At this point, I must say that with spread betting, your losses can exceed deposits. And if you are gambling with us, please do so responsibly. But for now, that's it. Thanks very much for joining us, Will. And for everyone out there, enjoy what's left of the summer of cricket, and we'll see you soon.